Hello and welcome back to the Pretty Smart Business Podcast. I am your host, Sheena White, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Railey Molinario, and she is the founder of Relationship Intelligence, an elite relationship coach and international speaker dedicated to helping ambitious women excel in love and business. Overcoming a traumatic past, she built a nearly seven-figure global brand and a thriving relationship. Railey empowers women to create emotionally intelligent relationships that enhance their success and well-being through her RI framework. Her work, featured in the BBC and Forbes, emphasizes that success without healthy relationships leads to burnout, positioning relationship intelligence as a crucial skill. Welcome, Railey.
Hello. How are you? Hello.
I'm fabulous. And we were talking before, and you are across the pond right now in England.
I am. I've been in Europe for 14 years now, so I feel very international. It's so much fun.
So what first took you to Europe?
I was in the US and I was studying 2 degrees. I was on my way to work on Wall Street. I wanted to be, this hardcore businesswoman because I always saw these high-powered women as the image of success. So I went to school and I thought, I'm going to be a businesswoman. I'm going to work on Wall Street. I'm going to make lots of money. And when I went through that experience, I realized that something was missing. And so I decided that I had to experience something else. And so I went to Barcelona, Spain, spent 10 years there, met my beautiful husband, and now I'm in England.
Okay, so why did you guys move to England then?
Well, my husband is Italian. He's been in England for 26 years. And he's now like a mixture of both because he's 50. So he's like half Italian, half English. But yeah, I've been here now for 4 years. And I love the different cultures and understanding how different people live and how different people work. And it's so much fun.
I love it. I've never been to Spain or England for that matter, but I have been to Europe, Germany and Czech Republic and all those fun places. So different area. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how you began your business. Like what made you think to yourself, I'm going to be a relationship coach?
Yes. I was abandoned when I was born, and I grew up in this very abusive household with my mother and my stepfather. I never saw healthy relationships, but I knew that I wanted one. I knew that I wanted to have a partner. I wanted to have a beautiful life for myself, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like. And so when I was in school, I was labeled as academically gifted. I was academically advanced. So I had the book smarts. And then I ended up leaving home at 16, which gave me street smarts. Going on my journey, I was able to get a house and a car. And, on paper, I had everything. But I realized that there was something deeper missing because I was struggling with anxiety. I had depression. I got an eating disorder. And I knew, I'm so smart in all these other areas, but something is not working. Something is seriously wrong. And I realized that third intelligence that I was missing was relationship intelligence. How do I build a beautiful relationship with myself? How do I heal my trauma, overcome my childhood wounds? How do I build a beautiful life for myself, although that wasn't what I was given when I was a child? And so I went on this journey for over a decade, healing myself and connecting with people and really figuring out what is it that I want in life? What is that life that I want to build? And I started to build it slowly. And on my journey, I realized I'm not the only one. So many of us are striving for success when it comes to money, when it comes to our career, but we're still suffering. There are a lot of people who have everything on paper and they're wondering what's going on because I'm still not happy. So I made it my mission to help other people by giving them these tools and this information that we do have the information for. You know, a lot of times people think that relationships are overly complicated. They're sort of just like this messy thing because they involve feelings and emotions. But in actuality, we've been able to study relationships on a scientific level. We do have a formula for success. And unfortunately, this isn't something that's given to us in the school system. It's not given to us by our parents. And so this is my mission to put it out there.
So what exactly is relationship intelligence?
It's the ability to build and sustain emotionally aligned relationships. How do we build relationships with ourselves? Really learning to love ourselves and empower ourselves to create these beautiful lives. And then how do we build relationships with other people, whether that's with our partner, our friends, our family, with our clients, with, you know, if you want to build your business, how do you build relationships with PR agencies? How do you build relationships with money? How do you build relationships with your health? It's how we connect with other people and other entities in order to create these amazing lives for ourselves.
Okay. And if somebody's thinking to themselves, okay, I want to, have better relationship intelligence, where do they even start?
It's understanding what relationships require. And that's the formula. A lot of us don't know how to have successful relationships because we don't understand what they entail. And so understanding the different parts of relationships and what makes a relationship successful and what makes it unsuccessful. There's certain things that successful relationships have, like understanding and compassion and empathy. These are things that we really have to have in our relationship in order to make it successful. And if we don't, we are going to suffer.
Okay. And you first talked about a relationship with yourself. So how did you start building that?
I first had to change the relationship that I had with my mind because growing up, I never heard positive affirmations. I never heard, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. And so into my adulthood, that's the conversation I had in my own head. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be successful. I come from this poor family, so I'm always going to be poor. No one's ever going to love me because my father abandoned me. So I had to change that conversation that was going off in my head. And I did that by listening to motivational tapes. That was like, we're talking 2 decades ago. So that's how I started to have these different conversations, by listening to other people tell me that I could do it, listening to other people telling me that I was good enough, because I didn't have that conversation, that script in my own mind. So I had to find it somewhere else. And I started to really change the conversations that I had in my head. And then I started to do a lot of healing. And that came from me going out there and searching anything and everything. I was just like, how do people heal? How do people transform? And I tried everything. I went into doing yoga. I became a vegan. I started praying and meditating and doing all these things. And I was so open-minded because I knew that the pain of staying the same was never going to be as bad as the pain of change. So I was willing to go out there and put myself in these different situations that I wasn't used to, that weren't necessarily comfortable, but they pushed me beyond my limits so that I could learn something new and discover myself like I never had before.
Okay. And, one of the questions on here is, why do so many high achieving women struggle with love and success?
This was me for a long time. As I said, I had everything on paper. I was studying for 2 degrees. Coming from a poor family, I was able to invest in the stock market. I got my own house. I had my own car. But I was still suffering so much in my relationship with myself, my relationships with partners. And that's because it's a different type of intelligence. We do see so many successful women who don't have the education they need to build thriving relationships. And that's where relationship intelligence comes in. It's saying the education that you had at school is going to give you a great career. It's going to teach you, so many things in life, but it doesn't teach you about relationships. And this is why we're bringing relationship intelligence into the education system, because everyone should have the access to this. It's so shameful to me on our society that 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds aren't able to regulate their own nervous system. They're not able to communicate effectively. And so we're setting them up for success when it comes to their careers, but then we're sort of leaving them high and dry when it comes to actually creating an incredible life for themselves. And so we're suffering at the hands of ignorance. So when it comes to women building these incredible careers and these incredible lives, we're missing a really important element, which is how do I build a relationship? Because it's not so much about the fairy tale that we've been told, especially for women. We've been told, you're going to find your Prince Charming, you're going to live happily ever after, the end. And it's like, what about real life? We have bills to pay. We have illnesses in the family. We have pandemics. How do we navigate through life together? What happens when my partner and I aren't on the same page? How do we overcome conflict? How do we heal from our own childhood discrepancies? How do we build this beautiful relationship? And so because we don't have the education, even these very successful, incredible women are still suffering.
Okay. So what is the difference between relationship intelligence and emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is about navigating your emotions. It's how do I practice self-awareness, self-management, relationship awareness, relationship management, and how do I create this beautiful emotional alignment? And it's such a beautiful practice. But relationship intelligence takes it one step further. It's how do I use emotional intelligence to then build an incredible life, whether that's my personal life, my professional life. It's taking it that step further to use that emotional intelligence to build relationships with ourselves, with others. And we're really seeing how this is affecting people, not only on a personal level, but a professional level. We bring relationship intelligence into corporate environments. We see how it affects burnout. It's really powerful when it comes to dealing with miscommunications in the workplace, which are costing millions and millions of dollars to these companies. We're seeing quiet quitting soften in companies that are utilizing relationship intelligence. So it's such a powerful tool. And my hope is that everyone has access to it.
So can you walk us through one of the core principles of your method?
Yes, there are 10 RI alignment codes. And these are basically the codes that you need in order to create thriving relationships, both personally and professionally. One of the most powerful ones, I would like to say that they're all powerful, but one of the most powerful ones that we get so wrong is communication. We see this personally and professionally. We have a couple who, comes to coaching with me and they say, Riley, but we communicate all the time. And I say, you talk to each other, you fight with each other, but communication is something else. There is an effective way to communicate. We don't understand how to communicate. So when I'm upset because my husband didn't take out the trash, how do I express that to him? Do I create a safe space in order for him to receive that information without having to get defensive? When we're writing emails to our colleague, are we taking into consideration that our colleague's brain might read the information different than the way that we're sending it out? Are we following up in a manner that's appropriate for myself and for that other person? Are we taking into consideration the fact that maybe I'm a single woman and my colleague is married with 4 kids? So we really need to understand, how does communication work? What is active listening? How do I practice that? And what effect is that going to have on my communication?
Okay, I love it. And how can someone start applying relationship intelligence today?
The first step to really mastering relationship intelligence is to create a vision. Everything is about creating a vision. So when you're in a relationship, a personal romantic relationship, and you say, I want more, I'm not as happy as I would like to be. The question is, what is your desire? If you could have anything, what would that be? And a lot of times we create from what we think we can have. We say, well, I don't want to fight so much. I teach couples how to have zero fighting in their relationship. So is the ideal relationship for you one that has less fighting or no fighting? And people say, well, no fighting, but it seems too good to be true. Or if you're a company creating this beautiful environment, what would be the ideal environment for your employees? Is it the one you have because you think that's going to make the most productive employee? Or is it the one where every employee feels valued, seen, heard, understood? Everyone's on the same page. Everyone shares that common vision. So having a vision and being very clear about your intention. And this is a daily practice. What is my intention for today? Is it to fight with my husband and get upset with my kids and be frustrated with my coworker? So when we have that vision, we just have a stronger sense of alignment. So we can do this practice every day when we wake up. What is my intention for the day? What is my vision for today? If today would turn out perfectly, what would that look like?
I got you. Okay. And what's a powerful belief or practice that keeps you grounded in both love and leadership?
Meditation.
Okay.
It's a simple, well-known practice, but it is so powerful. And this is something that has completely changed my life because our brain is on autopilot from the time that we wake up until the time that we go to bed. We're constantly thinking and rambling. And most of our thoughts that we're having are the same thoughts we had yesterday and the day before and the day before. So our brain is repeatedly going through these cycles and we think that we have no control over them. Meditation allows us to focus our mind and it allows us to be aware of the thoughts that we're thinking. It's not so much about not thinking, but it's about being aware of those thoughts, because when we're aware of our thoughts, we can become the drivers of them. We can choose them the same way we choose, what color underwear we want to wear in the morning. And when we choose our thoughts, we choose our feelings and we choose our actions. And that's where we have the empowerment aspect of living and creating these beautiful lives.
I got it. I love it. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more?
I would love to offer your beautiful audience my free Power Couple Blueprint, which is essentially a masterclass to teach everyone exactly how to create thriving relationships. So I explain exactly what relationship intelligence is and how you can implement these different aspects, these skill sets, in order to have better communication in your relationship, to stop fighting, to navigate conflict, to create partnership, and all of these other beautiful aspects to have the beautiful, amazing relationship that you deserve.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Pretty Smart Business, and I can't wait to connect with you more in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.